Stephen King has a really mixed record when it comes to film adaptations, as in most of them are terrible, two guys are really good at making them, and the best has an aggressive hatred for the source material. The Mist by Frank Darabont is one of the second type, building it as equally successful as Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile. It's the story of an unearthly mist that surrounds a small New England town, trapping the main characters in a supermarket. And out in the mist, there are monsters.
There's nothing out there. Nothing in the mist.
I'm sure you've seen it, or heard of it. It wasn't a financial success when it first came out, but has since developed a massive fan following. For its accuracy to the source material, its small changes that improve the source material, even Stephen King admitted as much, its A-list cast of character actors, and fantastic visuals. The version I'm using here is Frank Darabont's black and white director's cut. He felt it worked best as an update to 1950s monster movies, and I tend to agree. The most famous part of the film is the ending, one of the changes that King preferred, and I'm sorry to say that I'm going to have to spoil it for you if you've not already seen it. In case you're wondering, the other main changes are the quite gnarly thing that happens to this guy in The Chemist, and the fate of Sam Witwer. Interestingly, The Mist can also be read as a weird prequel to The Walking Dead, kinda. Darabont reused a number of the same actors when he adapted it for TV and brought a similar vibe to both, until he was fired after season 1. And most hilariously, the unnamed woman at the start, who's desperate to get back to her kids, could totally be Carol's origin story. She does, after all, somehow survive and save her kids, though the kids' names are wrong.
Wanda's looking after little Victor. She's only 8. Sometimes she forgets she's supposed to be watching him, you know?
I really like the film. It's probably my favourite film from 2007, and is easily one of the best of the whole decade. It's almost perfect. And the less said about the Netflix remake, the better, because everywhere the movie zigged, it zagged. Quality included. Anyway, I had a thought about the film that I doubt is original, but I've never seen anyone talk about. And it's about the villain of the film, the real villain, Mrs. Carmody. A religious fundamentalist who's convinced that the mist and the monsters are a sign of the end times, that they're the wrath of God brought down on the unbelievers. Over the course of the film, which takes a few days, she creates a cult and starts sacrificing people to the monsters. She also makes a number of pronouncements, some generic religious loon stuff.
It's death.
And then about 40 minutes in, she prays and things start to happen.
Let me preach your word. Let me shine your light.
From this point on, she starts to make definite pronouncements about what's going on and predictions for the future, and she's almost always right.
They'll come tonight, and they'll take someone else.
They did come tonight, and they did take someone. Several someones. And like she also said,
and you will beg Mother Carmody to show you the way.
Many of them did end up joining her cult.
She was right. She said that they would come at night. She told us someone would die.
Before night fell, Captain Holt led a team of people away from the shop and into the mist. And what was the last thing they heard before they left?
We're gonna send back help.
You'll die out there, all of you.
And guess what?
Do you see? Now do you believe?
Now, arguably, she gets something wrong in the second half of the film, as some heroes make plans to go into the chemist to get some painkillers and whatnot. She says this.
We'll have them come get the rest of us. Yes, they'll come back for all of us, just like this good lady said.
When the monsters that disturb in the chemist don't actually end up attacking the supermarket. But to be fair, she never specified what monsters would come, and some more do, just in time to eat Sam Witwer. Carmody had him sacrificed to the Mist monsters because he worked at the Arrowhead Project that ripped a hole in reality, bringing the Mist in from the Todash space or whatever. And after his death, she says this.
The beast will leave us alone tonight.
And they do. And her freakish accuracy is taken directly from the novella. But not all of it though, because the ending was changed. Originally, the surviving heroes escaped the supermarket and drove off into the mist towards an uncertain future. Well, in the film, they drive the car until they run out of petrol, and the main character, David Drayton, shoots everyone else in the car, including his son, and tries to feed himself to the monsters. But seconds later, the mist starts to clear. You see, one of Carmodys' last pronouncements was that David Drayton's son and the supporting character Amanda Dunphy need to be sacrificed.
We want the boy. We want the boy!
Just like Sam Witwer to appease the mist. Okay, technically, her very last order was to kill them all. But arguably that wasn't a pronouncement, that was just her being murderous. Anyway, with Dunphy and, more importantly, Drayton's son dead, the mist clears, as though it's finally satisfied. So, what's going on here? Maybe just coincidence, or she's just accurate enough to add to the creep factor, which is how it was in the original novella. But in the film, I don't think that's the case, because they changed the ending to make a worse pronouncement come true.
We want the boy. We want the boy!
But not only that. You see, during the attack, she has an insect land on her and says, "My life for you."
My life? My life for you.
Important words to do with King's uber bad guy Randall Flagg. Here's it turning up in the stand.
My life for you. My life for you. For you. My life for you. My life for you! My life for you! My life for you.
And it's not just an Easter egg. In her mind, she's making a deal with the insect, and through it, God.
My life? My life for you.
So we have a woman in a Stephen King adaptation essentially giving a prayer to Randall Flagg, and horrible stuff happens after she predicts that. And it wasn't in the original novella. Like the deaths in the car and the mist clearing afterwards, it was added for the film. I think Darabont deliberately threw in a deep-cut King reference to explain Carmody's accuracy when it comes to predictions. It's the sort of thing that non-King fans wouldn't notice, and King fans might even overlook, but it adds a whole other level to the film if you know it's there. It's also possible he was directly inspired by someone else in the novella, because driving to the supermarket, Drayton almost hits a guy wearing a denim jacket, riding a Yamaha with no helmet. Kinda sounds like Randall Flagg. It's almost definitely not Randall Flagg, but this is the guy who later rushes into the building and warns him about the mist. In the film, he's been united with this guy.
Something in the mist! Something in the mist! Cook John Lee!
But I can see why Darabont might have spotted a fleeting reference to a guy who looks like Randall Flagg, noticed that he was a harbinger of death, and had an idea to more directly connect the story to the broader mythos, handing the connection to Carmody instead.
My life? My life for you.
The only issue with this theory that something's going on with Carmody, beyond her being a horrible nut, is that the mist clears behind the car, and the army clearing it only catches up with them because they stopped. This means that the chances are the supermarket's been long cleared before the son's death. But then again, if something supernatural is going on, then they could argue that whoever's in charge already knew that was going to happen. Anyway, it's probably just there for flavour, but it's perfectly possible to argue that Randall Flagg and a related supernatural evil is kind of a work in the mist through Mrs. Carmody. That it's not just an excellent Stephen King adaptation, but fully integrated with his broader mythos. Beyond the mist being from the Todash space, I mean. But you're gonna have to read the Stephen King wiki to learn about that.